Pradajanaranjana Yashodanandanam Pradajanaranjana Yashodanandana Pradajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So today we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, Bhagavad Gita as it is. Chapter 4 entitled Transcendental Knowledge. So we'll recite the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we have the verse on the board there. I'll recite one line and you can all repeat after me. Sa evaya maya tedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaruttamam. Sa evaya maya tedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaruttamam. Sa evaya maya tedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaruttamam. Someone would like to recite the verse? Saevaya maya tedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaruttamam. Saevaya maya tedya yoga prokta puratanam bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaruttamam. Saevaya maya tedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaruttamam. Thank you. We'll do the word for word now. You can repeat after me. Saha, the same. Eva, certainly. Ayam, this. Maya, by me. Te, unto you. Adya, today. Yogaha, the science of yoga. Proktaha, spoken. Puratanaha, very old. Bhaktaha, devotee. Asi, you are. Me, my. Sakha, friend. Cha, also. Iti, therefore. Rahasyam, mystery. He, certainly. Etat, this. Uttamam, transcendental. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Purport. There are two classes of men, namely the devotee and the demon. The Lord selected Arjuna as the recipient of this great science, owing to his being a devotee of the Lord. But for the demon, it is not possible to understand this great mysterious science. There are a number of editions of this great book of knowledge. Some of them have commentaries by the devotees, and some of them have commentaries by the demons. Commentation by the devotees is real, whereas that of the demons is useless. Arjuna accepts Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and any commentary on the Gita following in the footsteps of Arjuna is real devotional service to the cause of this great science. The demonic, however, do not accept Lord Krishna as he is. Instead, they concoct something about Krishna and mislead general readers from the path of Krishna's instructions. Here is a warning about such misleading paths. One should try to follow the disciplic succession from Arjuna and thus be benefited by this great science of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So before attempting to speak on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, I would like to recite some prayers to our teachers from whom we have received this great knowledge. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakopatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. And before beginning to speak, also I'd like to seek the blessings of all the assembled devotees. Please bless me so that I may be able to say something that's pleasing to their lordships, that's beneficial for all of you and for my own purification also. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So I'll read the verse once again. Arjuna said, text 3, that very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. So this is the beginning of chapter 4, which is entitled Transcendental Knowledge. So in the beginning of this chapter, Krishna is speaking this verse to Arjuna, and he's explaining to Arjuna the qualification for receiving this transcendental knowledge. And that is that we have to be a devotee of Krishna, and as well as a friend. We have to have a friendly attitude towards Krishna. We shouldn't be envious of Krishna. And in chapter 9, that's also called the most confidential knowledge. So in the beginning of that chapter, Krishna says to Arjuna that because you're never envious of me, that's why I'll speak this knowledge unto you. So we should have this friendly attitude toward Krishna, not envious towards him. And most importantly, we should be his devotee. And this is also confirmed elsewhere in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter. Krishna says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvata tato mam tatvato gyadvat vishate tadanantaram. That one can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. So the devotees, they render devotional service unto Krishna. That's how we can understand who a devotee is. The activities of a devotee. One who is a devotee, they render devotional service to Krishna. And by this service, then Krishna becomes pleased with them, and then he reveals this knowledge to them in their hearts. This is described in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogantam yena mam upayantate. To those who are constantly engaged in serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So, yeah, this knowledge is actually revealed to us in the heart when we're pleased, when Krishna is pleased with us. In the next verse, in 10:11, after this verse, Krishna says that Tesham evanukamparta aham agyana jantama nashyami atma bhavasto jnana deepena pashvata. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their heart, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So there's the ignorance in our heart is destroyed by Lord Krishna when he reveals the knowledge in our heart, which is compared to a torchlight or the lamp of knowledge. Because when we have knowledge, then we can see things differently. It's like when it's dark, then we can't see properly. When we have light, then we can see. Similarly, when we have knowledge, then we can see things differently. So Krishna is explaining here how we can receive this transcendental knowledge. And by performing devotional service. Also in the Bhagavatam, this is confirmed. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayat Yatsu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yadahaitukam. That by performing devotional service to the Lord, then one automatically acquires this transcendental knowledge. It becomes revealed to him. So this is the process by which we can understand this transcendental knowledge, and it is not by any other process that we can understand this knowledge. In in Canto 5 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a story of King Rahugana. He was a king, and he met Jadbharat. So in their conversation, then Jadbharat, he speaks to Maharaj Rahugana, and he says that this transcendental knowledge, it cannot be understood by any kind of austerity. Rahuganaita tapasanayati nache jaya nirvapanat grihatva nachandasanaya vajalagni surya vina mahatpada rajobhishekam. So he says that natapasa, not by performing so much austerity, not by perfectly performing our prescribed duties, or accepting the renounced order of sannyas. Not by all of these different things can one understand the absolute truth. So what does he say is the method? He says, Vinamahat pada rajobhishekam, that we have to take the dust from the lotus feet of the devotees on our head. That's the only way we can understand the absolute truth. So what does it mean to take the dust of the feet of the devotees? Or how can we get it? First of all, one thing we can do to get the dust from the feet of the devotees is to, whenever in India there's a practice I've seen. Whenever the devotees they come to the temple, they wipe their hand over the entranceway of the temple, so that all of the devotees who have entered the temple, then they get their dust from their feet that's accumulated in the doorway. So that's one way to get the dust from the lotus feet of the devotees. But also what this signifies is that we should surrender to the devotees. We should serve the devotees. As is recommended by Krishna also later on in the same 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnera sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshana. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So this is the method that's recommended by the Supreme Lord about how if we want to understand the absolute truth, then we should approach those devotees who have understood the absolute truth. By how? By pranipat and by seva, by rendering service and by submitting to them in humility and inquiring from them. So this is the process by which we can receive this transcendental knowledge and understand it. Krishna says, and Lord Shiva says to his wife Parvati, he says, Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur aradhanam param tadyanam tasmat paradaram devi tadyanam samarchitam. Yes, so Lord Shiva is speaking to his wife Parvati, and he says that among all methods of worship, the worship of the Supreme Lord, Krishna is the Supreme, but even better than that is worship of his devotees, that Krishna becomes even more pleased. So, yeah, if we want to receive this transcendental knowledge, then we have to get Krishna's mercy, because it's revealed within our heart. And, yeah, so the method that's prescribed is by devotional service, by serving Krishna, and especially by serving his devotees, because Krishna is even more pleased when we serve his devotees. When we serve his devotees with humility, with care, and with reverence, then Lord Krishna, he becomes very pleased, and then he gives us his mercy, and then this transcendental knowledge becomes revealed within our heart. So this process of receiving the transcendental knowledge by the mercy of the pure devotees is nicely described in the Srimad Bhagavatam with the example of Narada Muni. So Narada Muni, in his previous life, he was born as the son of a maidservant, and he was a very poor. He was from a poor family. It was just him and his mother used to render services as a maidservant. But one day, he was very fortunate that 4 transcendentalists, 4 devotees, they came to his house, and they stayed there for the 4 months of the rainy season, because in India, when it rains, then the roads in those days, they were made of dirt, so they were difficult to travel in the rainy season because it became all muddy, everything. So they stayed there in the maidservant's house, and she would serve them every day. She would offer them prasadam and render various services to them. And the boy, Narada Muni, he would assist his mother in serving the devotees. And it specifically mentioned that, he would hear from them. He wasn't like a normal boy. He was very well behaved. He wasn't just playing around. He would come and sit there, and he would hear the devotees describing the pastimes of the Lord. And those devotees, they had a great taste for relishing the topics of the Lord. And so in their association, the boy Narada, he also became attracted to hearing the topics of the Lord. And he also served them. And it's also mentioned that after taking their meals, then the boy would also ask them if he could have their remnants, and they allowed him, and so he would also eat their remnants. So there's a nice verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says, Bhakta Padaduli, Bhakta Padajal, Bhakta Bhukta Avashishta, Tina Mahabhal. It says that there are 3 things that are very powerful. The dust from the lotus feet of devotee, that we already talked about. And then there's the water that washes the feet of the devotee, assuming that water also has the dust of the devotee's feet in it. And then there's the remnants of food left by the devotees. So it's said that these 3 things are very powerful for helping us achieve the ultimate goal of life, Krishna Prem. So, and this is how Narada Muni, he got to attain the position of Narada Muni from being, just a maidservant. He had no education, the son of a maidservant. He had no education. He had no other qualification. But because he got the association of these advanced devotees, he served them. He got to take the remnants of their food. He was hearing from them about Krishna Katha, the topics of the Lord, the qualities, the activities of the Lord. And so this is how he attained the divine position of Narada Muni. Narada Muni is famous all over the world for being able to travel anywhere And his disciples are the greatest devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, like Dhruva Maharaj. And Narada Muni is famous as being a great preacher. So this is, the potency of a devotee association and enabling us to attain this, to understand actually this knowledge, to attain the mercy of the Lord, and then have this knowledge revealed to us, and then we can attain the highest perfection of life. There's a nice verse here from the Srimad Bhagavatam 5.18.11. It explains this process of how by hearing from the devotees, then we can become purified. It says, Yat sangalabdhang nijavirya vaibhavang tirtang muhusam sprushatam himanasam haratya jonta shrutibhir gatam gajam govaina seveta mukunda vikramam. By associating with persons for whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead Mukunda is the all in all, one can hear of his powerful activities and soon come to understand them. The activities of Mukunda are so potent that simply by hearing of them, one immediately associates with the Lord. For a person who constantly and very eagerly hears narrations of the Lord's powerful activities, the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead in the form of sound vibrations, enters within his heart and cleanses it of all contamination. On the other hand, although bathing in the Ganges diminishes bodily contaminations and infections, this process and the process of visiting holy places can cleanse the heart only after a long time. Therefore, who is the sane man who will not associate with devotees to quickly perfect his life? So here you can see the process described nicely. First of all, it gives us a little qualification here about who to listen from. It says, by associating with persons for whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, is the all in all. So this describes the attitude of a devotee, that he considers the Mukunda his supreme goal in his life, that he wants to, Mukunda is the all in all. So whatever he does in his life, he dedicates to the Lord. Mukunda is a name for Krishna. And then, so by associating with such devotees, one can hear of the powerful activities of the Lord and soon come to understand them. So how is it that we come to understand them? Because the activities of Mukunda are so potent that simply by hearing of them, one immediately associates with the Lord. So the name, the transcendental name, form, and qualities of the Lord, they're all on the transcendental platform. So they're all non-different from the Lord. And it's called the name and qualities of the Lord. They're the sound incarnation of the Lord. And so in this incarnation of the Lord, through these sound vibrations, the Lord enters into our heart. And then it cleanses it of all unwanted things. Here it says, the personality of Godhead in the form of sound vibrations enters within his heart and cleanses it of all contaminations. So by this process, then our heart becomes cleansed, and then the transcendental knowledge is revealed within our heart. And then we become attached to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So this is the nice process of receiving the transcendental knowledge from the devotees. And Srila Prabhupada, he mentions here that we should try to hear Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam also from the devotees, and also the commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita, they should be written by devotees. He says that commentaries written by non-devotees are useless. So we can just see that before Srila Prabhupada went to America, there were many commentaries of the Bhagavad Gita, but there was not a single devotee of Krishna, because they were all useless. They were all written by people who were not devotees of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, he writes, I think it's in the preface to this Bhagavad Gita, he says that one time one lady asked him to recommend a copy of the Bhagavad Gita for her to read, and he said that he couldn't recommend one because all of them were, the meaning was misconstrued because they were written by non-devotees. So from that he decided to that he has to write a Bhagavad Gita and present it as it is, so that the true teachings of Krishna can be available to the world, to the people, so that they can actually benefit from the wonderful wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. That's why this Bhagavad Gita, as it is so valuable, because it is written by a pure devotee of Krishna. And it said that just by reading the Bhagavad Gita, we also associate with Srila Prabhupada by reading his purports. So in this way, just by reading, we can associate with Srila Prabhupada. And by reading with a service attitude also, we render service to Prabhupada by reading his purports and trying to understand them and then carry out his instructions. So today we're supposed to be covering 2 verses, so I'll read the second verse as well. Arjuna vacha parang bhavato janma parang janma vivasvataha katametad vijaniyam tvamado proktavaniti. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivaswan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? Purport. Arjuna is an accepted devotee of the Lord, so how could he not believe Krishna's words? The fact is that Arjuna is not inquiring for himself, but for those who do not believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or for those who do not believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let me read that again. The fact is that Arjuna is not inquiring for himself, but for those who do not believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or for the demons who do not like the idea that Krishna should be accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For them only Arjuna inquires on this point, as if he were himself not aware of the Personality of Godhead or Krishna. As it will be evident from the 10th chapter, Arjuna knew perfectly well that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of everything, and the last word in transcendence. Of course, Krishna also appeared as the son of Devaki on this earth. How Krishna remained the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, the eternal original person, is very difficult for an ordinary man to understand. Therefore, to clarify this point, Arjuna put this question before Krishna, so that he himself could speak authoritatively. That Krishna is the supreme authority is accepted by the whole world, not only at present, but from time immemorial, and the demons alone reject him. Anyway, since Krishna is the authority accepted by all, Arjuna put this question before him in order that Krishna would describe himself without being depicted by the demons, who always try to distort him in a way understandable to the demons and their followers. It is necessary that everyone, for his own interest, know the science of Krishna. Therefore, when Krishna himself speaks about himself, it is auspicious for all the worlds. To the demons, such explanations by Krishna himself may appear to be strange, because the demons always study Krishna from their own standpoint. But those who are devotees heartily welcome the statements of Krishna when they are spoken by Krishna himself. The devotees will always worship such authoritative statements of Krishna, because they are always eager to know more and more about him. The atheists who consider Krishna an ordinary man may in this way come to know that Krishna is superhuman, that he is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, the eternal form of bliss and knowledge, that he is transcendental, and that he is above the domination of the modes of material nature and above the influence of time and space. A devotee of Krishna, like Arjuna, is undoubtedly above any misunderstanding of the transcendental position of Krishna. Arjuna's putting this question before the Lord is simply an attempt by the devotee to defy the atheistic attitude of persons who consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being subject to the modes of material nature. Yeah, so here we can see the mood of a devotee also. It's not only that he wants to understand Krishna himself, but he also wants to make everybody else understand Krishna, because he knows the wonderful benefit of understanding Krishna. What is the benefit of understanding Krishna? Would anybody like to say? Yeah, perfect. There's a nice verse in the Bhagavad Gita, in this chapter. It says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vedi tatvata tatvadeham punar janma naiti mameti surjana. One who understands the transcendental nature of the appearance and activities of Lord Krishna never takes birth in this mature world again, but he attains to my eternal abode. So just by understanding Krishna, his transcendental nature, his appearance, his activities, then we don't have to take birth again in this material world. Otherwise, repeatedly we're taking birth again and again in this material world, suffering the results of our past karma. We have to keep on suffering, birth, old age, disease, and death. But just by understanding Krishna, we can be free from this cycle of birth and death. That's why Lord Chaitanya, he sang, there's a nice song, it says, Parama Karuna Pahudvi Jana Nitai Gora Chandra Sabhavatar Sara Shiromani Kevala Anandakanda. That this process is Kevala Anandakanda, it's just blissful, it's very joyful because there's not hardly any austerity involved. We can just chant the holy names of the Lord. By rendering this devotional service, our heart becomes cleaned of all unwanted things. Then we can understand this transcendental knowledge because we get Krishna's mercy. And by studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, by hearing from the devotees, you can just sit in a class like you're doing now and hear. By tasting the remnants of the Lord's food, prasadam, delicious prasadam. So this is the joyful process that Lord Chaitanya has bestowed upon us. So just by following this process, we can understand Krishna. And then we become free from the cycle of birth and death, and we can attain the eternal abode of the Lord. So that's why the devotees of the Lord, not only do they take to this process themselves, but they're also very eager to help others to take to this process. And this is the reason why Arjuna asked this question here. It seems like Arjuna is, doubting Krishna, because he's saying, how can I understand that in the beginning you instructed the science to Vivaswan, the sun god? Because in the previous verse, Krishna says that I first of all instructed this science to the sun god. So the sun god, of course, has been existing for a very long time, the sun planet. And Arjuna was thinking that Krishna is his friend, he's the same age as him. So how is it that he instructed this knowledge first to the sun god, who's superior to him? So it's a valid question, right? For ordinary people who think Krishna to be an ordinary man. But Arjuna asked this question so that Krishna can then explain that actually, as Krishna will say in the next verse, he says that many, many births both you and I have passed. I remember all of them, but you do not. Because Krishna has a transcendental body. So his appearance and his activities, they're transcendental. This is what we have to understand, the transcendental nature of the Lord's appearance and activities. When he takes his birth, it's not like how we take birth. We take birth because we're forced to take birth according to the reactions of our previous karma. But the Lord, he appears out of his own desire, and he can choose who he will take as his parents. He can choose where he will appear, in what situation he will appear, and for how long he wants to stay on this planet. And he doesn't have to die either. When he doesn't want to stay here anymore, he can just go back to his abode. So his activities are all transcendental. They're never bound by any laws, or he's never forced to do anything. And so when he quits his body, then actually the Lord never quits his body, because his body is transcendental. So that's why his memory is eternal. And he remembers everything. He's Trikalagya. He knows past, present, and future. In the 7th chapter, Krishna says, Vedaham samaditani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. That I know everything that is happening at present. I know everything that has happened in the past. And I know everything that is happening yet to take place in the future. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. So this is the transcendental intelligence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He knows everything. So Arjuna, although Krishna said that Arjuna, you were also there in some way, but you don't remember. But Krishna, because his memory never deteriorates, never fades, he remembers speaking this transcendental science of devotional service to the Sun God in previous ages. So that's why Arjuna asked this question, so that Krishna can then speak about himself, and then people, they can hear about Krishna from himself. The best way to know about a person is to hear from themselves. You just go and ask the person, what do you do, what job do you do, what's your name, and what do you like, what you don't like. So this is the best way to know about a person. So when Krishna speaks about himself, it's for the benefit of the whole society. So we should also try to imbibe this mood of a devotee, of desiring to give Krishna consciousness to others. The pure philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaking about himself. So now it's coming the new year, and everybody's making new year resolutions. So it's very wonderful that you all are coming here. And we were just speaking about the importance of devotee association, the importance of understanding this transcendental knowledge through devotee association. And so, it would be very nice if you could all keep coming and make one of your New Year resolutions to keep on coming to the temple, to hear a class every day about Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and also try to give the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to others. Maybe you can all make your resolution to invite one friend to the temple who has never been before, or give a Bhagavad Gita to somebody who doesn't have it. That would be very nice, and that will definitely get you Krishna's blessing also. Krishna says in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that one who gives this transcendental knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita to others, that he's the most dear to me. Nobody else is more dear to me than him who distributes this knowledge to others, because this is Krishna's mission, that he loves all of us and he wants all of us to come back to him. He doesn't like to see us suffering in this world. So for anybody who tries to encourage others to come back to Krishna, Krishna is very pleased with that person, and then he gives his mercy. And when we get Krishna's mercy, then we can understand this transcendental knowledge and we can go back to the supreme abode of the Lord. So we have a few minutes left. I'd like to stop here. If anybody has any questions, any comments, anything you'd like to share, now is the time. Okay, thank you for a nice question. So I'll just repeat the question for the online viewers. The question was, if I understood, there are many people who write different commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. So how can we know which is bona fide and which is not? Yeah?
Right, commentaries and also just claim to be gurus or claim to be God themselves.
Okay, thank you. So in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about who is a Mahatma, who is a devotee. He says, what is the verse? 9:22, no? Mahatmanastu mamparta, devim prakritim ashita, bhajanti ananya manaso, gyatva bhutaryam avyayam. That the Mahatmas, those who are great souls, they are under the protection of my divine energy. They're fully take shelter of me, and they are Mahatmanastu mamparta, devim prakritim ashita, bhajanti ananya manaso, gyatva bhutaryam avyayam. They engage in my devotional service. They're fully engaged in my devotional service, knowing me to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So this is the definition of a Mahatma, a great soul, that he's always engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. Actually, in the scriptures, there are listed 26 qualities of a devotee. So, yeah, some of those qualities are like different qualities. One of them is that they don't eat more than necessary, they don't talk more than necessary, they're always engaged in devotional service, they're kind, they're compassionate, truthful. These are some of the qualities. But it's said that the most important of all of these qualities is that they're fully surrendered unto Krishna. They consider Krishna their ultimate goal in life. And they're working to attain that goal also to the best of their ability by engaging in devotional service, by following the prescribed methods of devotional service as described in the Shastras. And there's another nice verse that describes who is qualified to become a spiritual master, to take shelter of. And I forget the Sanskrit, but the translation is that he is fully bathed in the conclusions of the scriptures by properly hearing them from his own spiritual master. So one who is qualified to give this knowledge is one who has properly understood this knowledge from a spiritual master, also who is coming down in the disciplic succession. We have a nice disciplic succession. The last 4 members of our disciplic succession are pictured here above Srila Prabhupada. And this disciplic succession, it goes all the way up to Krishna. So this knowledge is being passed down in the chain of disciplic succession from spiritual master to disciple, all the way from Krishna down to the present day. So we can see in the chain, first Krishna spoke this knowledge to Lord Brahma, Brahma spoke it to Narada, Narada to Vyasa. Vyasadeva immortalized these teachings in the Bhagavatam so that they were never, in the passage of time, somebody can say, maybe the process, wouldn't it become like Chinese whispers? Everything would get distorted by being passed down from person to person. But to prevent this, then Vyasadeva, he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam so that the teachings are, immortalized in the text of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and that's why we have these three tracks to keep us going on the right track: Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So we always refer back to the scriptures, and that's another way to know how a person is bona fide, because he is a living Bhagavat. There's 2 types of Bhagavats: the book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. The person Bhagavat is one who lives the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And so this knowledge is being passed down from disciplic succession, and one who has understood it, who has applied it in his life, then he's worthy of taking shelter of, and he can deliver this knowledge to us. Is it okay? Anybody like to add something or another question? If not, I have a story to tell you. Because we were talking about how Narada Muni, he benefited so much from eating the remnants of the food left by the devotees. So there's a nice story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita about one devotee called Kalidas, and how he received. The story tells how this devotee Kalidas, he received the special mercy of the Lord because he had great faith in the devotees, and it's described that for as many devotees as there were in Bengal, he ate the remnants of every single one of them. And so he had a special method. Because, in the pastime of Narada Muni, it said that he requested for the remnants. He asked permission to eat them. But this Kalidas, he was very clever, and he was very, determined to get the remnants from all the devotees. So first he would ask a permission. First he would give them prasadam, and then after they eat, he would request to take the remnants. But sometimes they would say no, they didn't want to give him their remnants. They thought, they didn't feel, comfortable to give him their remnants. So then what he would do, he would go outside the house and he would hide. He would hide and wait till they threw out the remnants, whatever was left, all the scraps, the plates, because in those days they would eat with leaf plates usually, and they'd just throw them, on the side, and they would compost naturally. So he would wait there, and when they would throw it out, then he would come and he would collect it and he would eat it. And also, this Kalidas, he was very smart. He didn't just give them, like a laddu that you just eat and there's no remnants left. He would give them a fruit like a mango. So then you can't eat everything. You have to take out the seed and you have to take out the peel. So then he would wait till they eat the mango, then they throw out the seed and they throw out the peel, and then he would suck on the seed. And in this way he received the remnants of all the devotees. And this is a very nice process, because Srila Prabhupada also explains in the Srimad Bhagavatam that that just as by eating the remnants of food of a person who has a disease, then one infects that disease. So similarly, just by eating the remnants of food left by a devotee who has love for Krishna, then one infects that love for Krishna. One gets that love for Krishna. So, when we take the remnants of the devotees, then we can pray to the Lord to please let me imbibe the qualities of the devotees. And we can meditate on the qualities that we see in this devotee that we like to have. And while eating the remnants, we can pray in this way to acquire the qualities, and this way we can advance very quickly. These are some special tips to advance quickly in devotional service. So then it said that this devotee, later he went to Puri that year to meet Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya, he had a rule that nobody was allowed to drink his foot water. When his feet were washed, nobody could drink that water. But this devotee, he was very quick, and he put his hand in there when Lord Chaitanya was washing his feet and took the water. And so it said that he took a second palmful and a third palmful. And then finally Lord Chaitanya said, that's enough now. And so then, it's described there that because he had such faith in the Vaishnavas, because he had tasted all the remnants of the food of the devotees, then Lord Chaitanya gave this special mercy to him that he didn't give to anybody else. Okay then, 7:00. Thank you all for listening so patiently. Now we'll have the arti. Thank you. Hare Krishna.